People, we're back in Portsmouth, and this week we've got Emily Dunstan of Yoga by Emily.
And I like to bring yoga to the community that isn't necessarily like stereotypical and what you expect. In my classes, I don't think there is a typical person. There isn't a niche person I can describe. The word yoga means union. So traditionally, it is 8 limbs of yoga. It's one of those things I think definitely gets forgotten about because people just see the funky yoga poses and see the stuff on Instagram and go, I want to stand on my head, or I want to do that, when actually there's 7 other parts of a yoga practice. But anything can be a meditation. Okay. So if you go for a run, if you go for a swim, if you even walk in, it's a form of meditation, because when you're running, for example, you're focusing on the steps, you're focusing on the breath, you're looking around, you're feeling the breeze, the sunlight. I think in the West, we try to squeeze more into our days, don't we? You know, people will go, I finish work, I'm going to yoga, then I just pick my kids up, then I need to do this, then I need to do that. So we schedule an hour to relax a day. Like, I've scheduled my session, and then people get frustrated when they come to yoga and they're like, I can't relax. And you're like, well, yeah, try. Stop thinking about it.
Emily.
Hey.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
No, I'm excited for this one. Really am. And yeah, I like the place. I really do. I really do like the place. So, all right. So cool. You don't really have a clue of what's going to happen in this show. Really.
No.
So, cool. The What's Going On show is the show where we shine the light on people and organisations doing things in communities. And you yourself, you're doing yoga. And you told me off camera that there's more than one type of yoga, and we're going to find a bit about that today. So, okay, cool. So a little tradition I've got in this show is, instead of me giving you an introduction, I'll have to just give it straight over to you. So, who in a nutshell is Emily Dunstan?
Okay. So, I guess to start, my real name is actually Emily Dunstan. Okay. But it throws everyone. It gets everyone. But Emily Dunstan wasn't available on Instagram. So I had to work with it, and I went with Dunst. And that's now what I'm known as, but it's not actually my name. So, who am I? I guess I teach yoga in classes. I do retreats, I do events, and I like to bring yoga to the community that isn't necessarily like stereotypical and what you expect. So we do different things. We kind of, I won't say push the boundaries, because the boundaries I think for yoga studios are pretty low, if I'm honest. But we just do different things, and we explore different ways to move our body and kind of bring it to different communities, and yeah, bring a different approach to yoga and mental health and kind of mindfulness.
Interesting. Okay, cool. So, Emily Dunstan. All right. So, when did you so whereabouts are you from then? Let's go back to
I'm from Southsea.
Okay, from Southsea, born and bred. And was yoga always the plan?
No, not at all. Not at all. I didn't really have a plan. So I finished school, and then I went to college. I did art at college for 2 years. And loved that. I was just vibing, you know, creating some art and having a grand old time for 2 years. And then I went travelling. And when I went travelling, I first stop, soon as I was like freshly turned 19, was to India, which from Gatwick to Goa was a jump. It was a jump. And I was there for about 3 or 4 months in India, and exploring and travelling around and working at different volunteer projects. And yoga is just a part of their culture. It's just everywhere. It's just standard. You wake up, you do yoga, you know, even if you haven't done it before, get down the park and do it, sort of thing. So it was just a new way of kind of exploring and moving my body and kind of learning about it, and kind of introducing me a little bit more to that way of life. And then when I came back from travelling, I worked in the construction industry for 5 years, which was a bit random. And again, it wasn't really my plan. But as part of the kind of the industry and the construction industry, is they have a Christmas shutdown period. So every Christmas, you know, the whole industry closes for 2-3 weeks at a time. And so you used to kind of save up your annual leave and kind of bulk it on and go away then. And so then I could go to Asia and go to all these different parts of the world and kind of continue to travel and explore. And as I did that, I kind of I guess became accidentally spiritual and kind of learned more and more about all these different cultures and religions, and I just found it so interesting. And then in COVID I did my yoga teacher training, and again I didn't want to teach. That wasn't my plan to teach. I just wanted to do it because it was COVID and no one had anything to do. And at the time online yoga teacher training wasn't really a thing. It didn't really exist. But obviously all these people couldn't travel to India and all these countries to do their teacher training, so then they started to like Zoom it and live stream it. So yeah, then I just joined in and did it, and naturally from there the need for it grew, and more people were asking for classes and saying I should do it more, and here I am.
Fair.
Yeah.
So becoming more spiritual, what does that mean?
I think when I was at school, I went to a Christian school, and so like no one really liked going to, we had to go to chapel, we had to do lots of like religious classes and church services and stuff, and it was very rare that people enjoyed it, so it kind of felt like something that everyone just naturally was like, oh, no, I'm not religious, or and I think I blocked out possibly all cultures, all religions, and just didn't really want to necessarily think about it. And then it wasn't until then I was exploring new places and new worlds that I kind of then was like, oh, this is interesting, and this is interesting, and learning about all the different stories, and like not necessarily believe in it as such, but I just find the stories and the teaching so interesting and really inspiring. And yeah, I don't necessarily follow one religion. I just like collecting little pieces from all of them.
Interesting. Okay. So you went to India and you sort of learnt about, you peeked into yoga, let's say that.
Yeah.
And then when you came back, you started sort of training, then in lockdown hit, everything went. So what type of yoga do you do?
So in my personal practice, when I'm not teaching, I like Ashtanga yoga or rocket yoga, quite like fast, fiery practices, because they challenge my mind. Like my brain is so busy. I think about a million things at once all the time, and because I'm thinking of so many things, when I'm then doing a faster practice, I don't have time to think about those things because I'm too busy moving from A to B to C and trying to breathe and trying to balance and trying to push myself and challenge myself a little bit. But then at the same time, if I've had a busy week and I'm feeling a little bit burnt out and a bit like, oh, I can't do any more fast yoga, I do like yin yoga as well, because that's the complete opposite end of the spectrum. You're kind of sat on a floor, you don't go up and down or anything like that, there's no vinyasas, and you can wrap yourself in a blanket and kind of just slug out basically, and you hold poses for like 3-4 minutes at a time. So I always fall asleep in that one.
Fair enough. I mean, I should have asked the question before that, but I'll ask it now. So first of all, what is yoga?
The word yoga means union.
Okay.
So connection. So traditionally it is 8 limbs of yoga. There's 8 things that make up a yoga practice. So yoga asana, yoga poses, is just one of all of those 8 limbs. So it also includes breath work and breathing, it includes meditation, but it includes, they call them the yamas and the niyamas, and it's how we act towards ourselves, how we act towards the world. Basically, it's not being a dick. I don't even know if I can say that, I'm sorry. I can say that. It's basically not being a dick. And it's saying that you can, go to a yoga class and you can learn all about love and light and spiritual stuff and all those things, but then you could leave the room and cut someone up in traffic and do all these horrible things, and that's not a yogic way. It's obviously changed quite a lot in kind of modern culture and things like that, but it's one of those things that I think definitely gets forgotten about because people just see the funky yoga poses and see the stuff on Instagram and go, I want to stand on my head, or I want to do that, when actually there's 7 other parts of a yoga practice. So you could go to a yoga class, and some workshops I teach, people come to with their yoga mat and I'm like, we're not actually going to do any yoga today. You're not going to do any poses, we're just going to meditate, or we're just going to breathe, or we're just going to learn about, philosophy or something like that. So that's what yoga is. It's a connection. It's a connection to all those things, and to yourself and to others.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I didn't know that. So do you have to go to like yoga school, or how do you learn it?
So yoga teacher training, normally you start with your 200 hours. So it's 200 hours worth of training. So you do like your anatomy, learning about bones and muscles and the body and keeping yourself safe, other people safe. You learn about yoga philosophy, where it came from. You learn about how to schedule a class, how to sequence a class. There's kind of like maths behind it, if that makes sense, and like warming up certain parts of the body to get to a peak pose, the hardest pose of the practice, and then cooling your body back down. You learn about meditation. You learn about different boundaries and how you have to kind of act in a class and things like that too. So normally you start with your 200 hours and you do your 300 hours on top of that, and that's kind of just standard flow practice, and then from that you can then learn your different styles and kind of add more on top.
Okay. You said that you like more sort of fiery types of yoga. What does that mean though?
It's faster, more dynamic, more challenging, I guess.
How's it faster? Like, what do you...
So it'd be one breath, one movement. So inhale, exhale, whereas some classes you might get into a pose and really hold it, and if you do like Iyengar yoga, you're really focusing on your alignment, so making sure your foot is where it needs to be, your knee is where it needs to be, you're holding that pose, you're tweaking all these tiny little things and getting into it and then staying in it, whereas I like more flowy, faster kind of rhythmic stuff.
So, I mean, I've been to a couple of yoga sessions. I think everyone out there probably has.
Yeah.
But how do I say this? What's the typical type of person that goes to yoga?
I think anyone.
Interesting.
Like in my classes, I don't think there is a typical person. There isn't a niche person I can describe. There's people who are, early 20s, there's people up into their 50s, 60s, there's men, there's women, there's people who come because they got sore back, there's people who come because they want to relax, there's people who come because they need to focus and this is the only way they can focus when there's someone in front of them telling them what to do. People come because they just like the community and they like a chat and they like to kind of do something that's wholesome and nice with other people. Some people come just for the meditation at the end and they just want to lay there for 10 minutes and have a bit of a nap. Anyone can do yoga, and that's the thing, there's so many styles of yoga out there. It's just finding the right style to fit your mind and finding the right teacher as well. Finding the right yoga teacher is kind of like finding a drive instructor. Like there's some you'll go to and you're like, I really get on with them, and some you'll be like, no. And if it could be for no reason at all, it could just be, the way they talk. Some teachers put on like a yoga teacher voice.
Do you have a yoga teacher?
No, I don't think I do. I probably will now. I'll be like, oh no. But I definitely don't think I do. Some people kind of, I guess, act how they think a yoga teacher should act. And kind of create a very serene environment, and that's what some people need. Music playlists, I play what music I like, but some people play what music they like and different things like that. So many different things can change how a person teaches, and so it's finding one that resonates with you.
I get that.
Yeah.
I get that. So what kind of music do you play?
Again, it depends on the class. I quite like house music, so I will try and get a little bit in there if I can. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Sometimes it's just more like acoustic stuff. A real mixture. More modern stuff, definitely. I stay away from like the panpipes and the that kind of area.
I get that. But so when you lived in India, was it more that type, or how was
music?
It?
Yeah. I mean, some classes don't play music at all.
Gosh.
So it's pure silence, which is a very long hour.
Yeah.
But it depends on the class, because yoga isn't meant to be nice. You feel nice afterwards, but sometimes you don't feel nice afterwards because you're looking at yourself. So you're holding poses, you're releasing emotions, you're thinking about emotions, you're thinking about why you feel that way, and like it is a bit gritty sometimes, it's a bit raw sometimes, you're holding yourself accountable. If you're in quite a difficult, advanced, challenging practice, and everyone else around you can do a pose and you feel like you can't do it, like that really plays with your ego. And you know, it takes a lot to stand there and be like, no, I'm just going to do this version of the pose, I don't need to take the hardest version. Like that takes a lot of courage and strength. And so sometimes you might leave and you might feel a bit like, oh, you know, I wish I could do that, or I couldn't, you know, do that, and that person could do that, and that comparison. So it is holding the mirror up to yourself sometimes. And so then when you then don't have the distraction of music as well, it is very, very raw, and you know, you don't have anything to take your mind off and kind of distract yourself a little bit. You do have to sit with yourself. Yeah.
So it's kind of like, in a way, is it like, would you compare it to counselling? Or therapy?
I wouldn't compare it to. I think it could be a nice accompaniment to it, and you know, you get given prompts in class and you can kind of think about things, and you can think about your emotions and think about, why am I feeling this way, you know, and then you kind of question yourself, because there are no distractions in your yoga practice. You know, you can't reach for your phone, you're sat there, someone is watching you, you can't walk out, you can't suddenly start talking, you know, you have to sit with that. And the people kind of throw themselves in the most, get the most out of it. So sometimes you see people sat there trying to, you know, look at their phone or their watch and things like that. But yeah, I think the people who kind of do introspect and do listen to themselves the most, yeah, definitely take a lot away from it. And a lot of people, you know, it's very common after class, people just sit there for 5 minutes and go, I'm just kind of absorbing it or thinking about it, or they start writing notes and journaling and put, you know, their emotions to paper. So it's a good tool. All yoga is a tool for all those other things, yeah.
Okay, so flow state. Can you achieve flow state through yoga?
I think so. I think yoga helps you to listen intuitively. It helps you to lean in and lean out of things. And when you're in tune with your body gives you signals. It tells you about situations. You know, we've all walked into a room where something's felt a bit icky and the vibe's been a bit off, and you can feel it in your chest, you can feel it in your stomach, or you get a bit sweaty and you're a bit like, oh, what is this? And so that's your body telling you that, like, something's not right. Likewise, we've all walked into environments where the energies felt good and you felt positive and you're like, yeah, this is exciting, this is fun. And so yoga, again, is just a way to help you understand your body and go, okay, right, I'm feeling a little bit funky, something's not right, what is that? And then you can then apply that to anything. So work, relationships, whatever, you can think, okay, why isn't this working the way I think it is? What isn't flowing? What's that blockage? And likewise, if it does feel good, you can lean into it a little bit more. So it's just a mindfulness, and all mindfulness is awareness. So it's just awareness of yourself in a situation. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. So how would you say your awareness of yourself has changed from when you started to today?
I think in terms of teaching, or in terms of myself and my own yoga practice?
Let's go into both. So let's first start in your teaching.
In teaching. I think my confidence has definitely grown in teaching. Like, yeah, just standing in front of a room of people, a class of a few people, I was like, oh my God. And you just have that such self-doubt of like, can I even do this? Can I talk about this? What am I talking about? You know, I had millions of notes, and just, yeah, it was very, very scary. Whereas now I can stand in front of, you know, 130 people and I'm like, okay, let's do this. Let's just freeball. Let's see what comes out today. So I think that awareness has changed, as in confidence wise. And I think my awareness of, I think perhaps body awareness too, but that more links to my own practice. So when I first started doing yoga, I did a lot of Ashtanga yoga, which is very, very disciplined, and you always do the same set sequence. So you get really good at that one set sequence. And then I hurt my wrist and I couldn't do Ashtanga anymore. So then I had to then do a slower, different practice of yoga. And to be honest, I thought I was the absolute dog's bollocks.
That's right.
I thought I was at the absolute dog's bollocks. I thought I was so good at yoga. And then when I went into this other class and did it, and then I was like, I can't do this. And it was just an absolute, just kind of got me to reassess my perspective on my body, and actually you can't do everything, and it's okay to not do everything, and learning about that a little bit more and yourself a bit more. Yeah.
Okay, now let's go into your own personal awareness then.
Yeah.
So you've done that, but obviously you had to have done it. You had to have done yoga before you taught it. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
So how has that changed from when you started to today?
I do more focus on breath work in my own practice now. So I might not practice yoga for myself every single day, because I do a lot of yoga. I teach sometimes about 20 hours of yoga a week, which is a lot on your body. And so sometimes I'm like, I just don't want to do another chaturanga. I just don't want to do another pose. Whereas I can do breath work and really find that connection, and it helps me to completely like wipe my brain. I can close in all these little tabs sometimes, and that's just from being sat still and breathing. Same with meditation. I think I lean more into meditation as a tool for, maybe as a tool for if I'm not quite sure where to go, what to do, or about decisions and things. That's definitely where I'm at. Yeah.
Nice. So with meditation, they always say clear your mind.
Mm-hmm.
That's impossible.
Yeah, it is.
So so talk me through that. What in your definition is clearing your mind?
I don't think you need to clear your mind, because you can't clear your mind. Like your brain is always gonna think. You're always gonna hear a distraction. It's always gonna dart off somewhere else. Unless you're in a completely silent room with nothing going on. Even then, your little brain, something's gonna pop up. So just as there's hundreds of styles of yoga, there's so many different styles of meditation as well. So again, it's then finding that one that fits for you. So you could do a form of like focused meditation where you're watching something. So everyone likes watching fire, everyone likes watching waves rolling on a shore. That's a form of meditation. You're getting so sucked in and absorbing that, everything else around you's dropped away. You could do moving meditation. So my favourite one is one where you like squeeze and tense all the muscles in your body as you hold your breath, and then you relax and let it go. You can do mantra meditation where you're chanting or just repeating words over and over in your mind. And the focus is on that. So you're not clearing your mind, but you're just directing your focus to one thing. Yeah.
So okay. So for me, I'm a really busy person.
Okay.
I'm always darting around, got loads of stuff to do.
Yeah.
What type of meditation would you recommend?
I would do more of a moving meditation or breathwork meditation while you're starting out. And you've got to start small and build up. Don't go in for a 20-minute meditation, sit there for 20 minutes and think, oh, I hate this, is horrible. You start small, do 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and gradually you'll get more and more comfortable with it. A lot of the time you'll hear people call their brains the monkey mind. And it's because our brains are always busy. They're trying to reach for something, trying to do something, they're, playing around, messing around in our heads. So when we give our brain something to do, it's like giving the monkey a banana. We're giving it something to eat, to focus on, and that's what you need to do. There's no point going in for a slow, silent meditation when you know that's not going to work for you. You're just going to end up getting frustrated, hating it, and probably never doing it again. So yeah, it's just, trying to find that piece of the puzzle that fits your brain and what's going to work for you. So yeah, go faster, do something, breath work, movement, yeah. But anything can be a meditation.
Okay.
So if you go for a run, if you go for a swim, if you even walk in, it's a form of meditation, because when you're running, for example, you're focusing on your steps, you're focusing on your breath, you're looking around, you're feeling the breeze, the sunlight. If you're on a treadmill and you're at the gym and you've got that huge big window and you're watching something outside, you're focusing on just that. You're focusing on your body, you're feeling everything. That's focus, that's meditation.
Okay. Well, in that case, I do meditate.
I meditate. You liar.
That's funny. Okay, well that's funny. I probably meditate about 3 times a week then. Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So, interesting. So, there's many types of... Alright, here's one for you.
Mm-hmm.
So, when someone thinks of stereotypical yoga, soft voice, bit flowy, bit loose, bit out there, is that actually true?
Can be for some people.
Yeah, is it like, what kind of percent are we talking here? Is it like 80-20? Is it 60-50? Is it 50-50?
I'd say, I don't know, I feel like that's what a lot of teachers project and that's what a lot of studios project. But I kind of feel like the average person isn't that. I feel like maybe it's just like my community and the people that I surround myself with, so I don't think about it. But yeah, I'd say maybe I'll say 60-40. But maybe that's because people are going to studios and people are having these teachers where they think that's what they have to be and that's what a yoga practice is and how they should act. When reality it's not. You don't have to do that. Anything can be a yoga practice. Yeah.
So, for you, or your advice to other people, a studio versus like solo sessions, would you say?
Yeah, independent sessions.
Independent sessions? What's the difference? And yeah, talk us through them.
So in a studio you have a community, you've got different teachers on the schedule, you've got probably a wider variety of a timetable and things like that. Independent sessions, if you know you like a particular teacher's style, if you like that community of saying the same faces, that's probably the main difference. But it's all yoga at the end of the day. It doesn't really matter. It's yoga, it's yoga. If you enjoy it and it works for you, then yeah, it's all good.
You do you.
Yeah, you do you, boo.
You do you. So, okay then. So, India basically changed your life.
Yeah, in a way, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Would you ever go anywhere else, or could you live there?
I think I could live there, yeah. The food is stunning, so yeah, the weather's good. Yeah, I really do like Asia, all of Southeast Asia really, India, Nepal, Thailand, Malaysia, Laos. I've been all those places so many times and there's such a strong connection to it, and I think people just have such a different outlook on life because of their rituals and what they do every single day. Before they go to work, they'll get up, they'll do yoga, they'll go give alms to the monks, they'll see a sunrise, they'll do all these things and then go to work. Whereas in the UK, we wake up, we're stressed, we're late, we do a million things, go to work, and then we have a shit day. And so it's like, if people just have such a different mindset out there, it's like a real sparkle in people's eyes.
That is interesting. The difference in culture between East and the West.
Yeah, and is that spiritualism? Is that religion? Is that, who knows?
That could be a big part of it though, as in that ritual before we even go to work. Because work is depressing for many.
Yeah.
You're restricted 9 to 5. Interesting that. I could go in for days about that. Okay, but we won't. So, that is interesting. So, from East to West, and now you're in the West, and would you say people find it harder to, because I guess there is quite easier to connect, I'm guessing, with people, with yoga and spiritual movements and being present and all of this, and in the West it's so much harder.
Yeah.
It's really weird, isn't it?
I think in the West we try to squeeze more into our days, don't we? People will go, I finish work, I'm going to yoga, then I just pick my kids up, then I need to do this, and then I need to do that. So we schedule an hour to relax a day. I've scheduled my session, and then people get frustrated when they come to yoga and they're like, I can't relax. And you're like, well, yeah, try. Stop thinking about it. I think we have such a busy lifestyle and culture, and and I think people seem to be more, not embarrassed, but I think people are more self-conscious, and even people might not always come to class with their friends because they want to do it by themselves and not let anyone see them, or they go straight to the back of the room and put their mat as far back as possible, and it's like, you're not going to be able to see me, you're not going to be able to hear me if you go over there, but they don't want to be seen, and they go far back. So I think perhaps it's like a confidence thing.
Why do you think people are more self-conscious in the West?
Perhaps it's the form of the environments we create. So so many gyms and studios have mirrors everywhere. everywhere. It's like, stop, you know. But if you go, you know, and just do yoga in a park, you know, in the east or on a beach or somewhere like that, there's no distraction. You can't look at yourself. You're not absorbed by what you look like in a pose. Because in reality, we all think we're nailing a pose when we do yoga, and then when we actually look at ourselves, we're like, oh, this is what I look like. Because yoga is weird. You're putting your body into compromising shapes. You're breathing in a weird way sometimes. You know, meditation's uncomfortable. It's not always the most attractive, pleasant thing to do. And then you go to a gym and you go to a studio and it's wall-to-wall mirrors everywhere, and it's like bright and lights and everything, or just huge windows looking out so people can see in, and it's not a pleasant environment. And so people don't intuitively want to kind of feel into their bodies, because when they do, they might look a bit weird, and then they might catch a glimpse of themselves in the mirror, or someone might see them outside, and then we kind of worry about these things a bit more. And I think even intuitive movement's something that you're not really taught. No one teaches it at school or anything like that. It's always, this is how you go to the gym, this is how you know, squat, this is how you run, this is how you do this without hurting yourself. No one's like, but if it doesn't feel right, do this instead. No one teaches that. It's a hard thing to kind of get your head around when you first start.
Big time.
I think that's the biggest thing. I think that's the biggest thing when people especially come from a gym environment into doing yoga, and they're like, am I doing the pose right? And I'm like, does it feel right? And they're like, I don't know. And you're like, well, does it feel nice? And they're like, yeah, I think so. And they're like, then yeah. Yeah.
Interesting. So gym culture versus yoga culture, could you say that?
Yeah, I think so.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Are you anti-gym?
No, I don't go to the gym. No, that's not because I'm anti-gym. No, I think there's room for all movement. But it's just the environment that you create can be intimidating and scary.
I get that. So what type of movement do you do then? Because for people watching, you probably look like you go gym. So
what do I do? Oh, I just do yoga.
Just yoga?
Sometimes I do Pilates, but that's kind of hard.
What's Pilates then? I thought Pilates was a form of yoga, isn't it?
No.
Okay.
No, babe.
Oh, God.
Don't never say that to a yoga teacher again. You'll get banished out the studio.
Jeez. So what's the difference then?
I'd say in Pilates it's similar movements, but there's a goal. So you're kind of like doing reps and it's a lot more controlled. So sometimes I'll do like reformer Pilates, which is like on this horrible bed with like weights and like strings, and you've got like, yeah, it's horrible.
It looks scary.
It's scary. Yeah.
It looks quite
I'm not doing them any justice. But you feel good afterwards, and it's like a subtle strength. And for me, it works the same muscles as I'd work in yoga, so I really enjoy it because it kind of complements one another. Yeah.
So, I probably asked so many questions. So in yoga, like you say, there's different types and there's different movements. I see loads of people who do yoga have got like crazy flexibility. What is, like, how important is it to be flexible?
It's not important at all. It's all flexibility is your body's full range of motion. So if you spend all day driving, sat at a desk, even if you're quite an active person and you run and you go to the gym and things like that, you're not working your body in its full range of mobility. Likewise, there's probably certain yoga classes and poses that I do that, again, isn't working my body to its full range of mobility. And there's poses that I kind of don't do because I'm not very good at them, and then when I do them I'm like, oh, this is hard, and things like that. So it obviously helps to be flexible, but it comes in time. It's just consistency, it's just working at it. I was never a dancer, I was never a gymnast or anything like that. I didn't, a lot of yoga teachers start off being able to do the splits or headstands and handstands and stuff. Like, I've never been able to do that. I've had to learn that consistently. Guaranteed I do a lot of yoga every week, but if you consistently work at it, it does come really quickly.
Yeah, because I do a lot of like workouts and probably static movements, and I find myself trying to do stretches in the gym on the mats, and I do it every day. I do my little stretch and such. But would you recommend there being, how much stretching should we do a day?
even like 10 minutes in the mornings. 10 minutes in the mornings will like wake your body up. The weird thing with yoga is that when everyone starts, they want to get flexible. They want to be able to do the pose. They want to help their hamstrings or their back and things like that. But the yoga pose is never really the goal. And it will take people maybe 3 or 4 classes, and then something will happen where they realise it's actually for your mind, and it's actually for your mental health, and it's for your breath, and you're just going because you'll feel better for it. And yeah, eventually you can then do a pose. And when you're consistent and you come every week or every few weeks and things like that, what I do when I teach is I give people like multiple options. So I'll be like, okay, you know, option 1, we're going to do this. Option 2, if you found that kind of easy, let's try this, and you build up. And sometimes you then might try the 3rd option and go, no, this isn't going to work for me today. And then sometimes one day you'll try it and you're like, oh, I can do this. And then you move on to number 4. And it's just that progression of a little bit. You know, you wouldn't go and start running and go, I'm going to run 10K today on day 1. You wouldn't go to the gym and go, I'm going to lift, you know, the heaviest weight. You build up slowly, and it's the same in yoga, same in meditation, same in breath work. It's just little bit, consistency, working at it. Yeah, and the more you do, the easier it gets. You wouldn't go to the gym and expect to get abs on day 1. You don't go to yoga and expect to touch your toes on day 1. It's just, yeah, the more you do.
I get it.
Yeah.
Fair. So, okay, so that kind of wraps up yoga in a way. I mean, I know we've only scratched the surface, I really do. So, okay, so you say there's many types of yoga.
Mm-hmm.
It's down to each person, but would you say there's a common one used in, let's say, the UK or...
Yeah, I think Vinyasa yoga is the common.
Okay.
Vinyasa yoga, that's flow, it's a general flow, or Hatha yoga. Yeah, they're the 2 sort of standard types that people will practice, yeah.
Why is that though?
I think they're accessible, they work a little bit of everything, so you get strong, you get flexible, it helps your balance, it helps your mobility, you do breath work in it. Vinyasa is breath to movement. So as you inhale, that's one movement. As you exhale, that's the next movement. So you're piecing it together. And so, yeah, I think that's probably the easiest form to get your head around as well, because the slower classes can be hard because, like we said earlier, if you've got a really busy, active brain, sat on your mat for 3-4 minutes in a pose, in one pose that you feel really uncomfortable in, you're going to think about the emails you haven't sent, the washing you need to do, the food shop you need to do, all those other things. It's just going to be sat there and you're not going to feel relaxed by it. Likewise, if you don't like workouty, fast, flowy practices and you don't like challenging yourself, that's equally going to feel just as overwhelming. So Vinyasa is a nice middle ground for people to kind of dip their toes in and try and get confident and then go, actually, I want to go a bit faster, or I want to slow it down and try something a bit slower.
Okay. Would you say it's really? Would you say? Here we go again. Would you say it's really helpful for like athletes to do yoga?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%.
Interesting.
Even just for recovery, for focus, for your breath, in meditation, just trying to meditate for 10 minutes just helps you to really focus and clear your mind. Yeah, there's a really interesting study I've seen before of an MRI scan before someone meditates and after someone meditates, and like the brain looks crazy. It's so good. Yeah.
Were they like trained in meditation though? Or... That is fascinating.
Yeah.
That is cool. Wow. Okay, so that kind of touches on yoga. So we'll come back to Portsmouth. So currently we're sat here, but I've looked at this thing on the wall the whole time. So and I know you do this. So you do beach yoga.
Yeah.
Why do you do beach yoga?
Because we have a whole beach. Why not? I think when I first started beach yoga, it was just a nice little summery thing to do, and like we were saying earlier, it's pretty raw. You don't have the distraction of mirrors, of lights, of loud music in a studio. You don't have all those other things. It's just you, the sea in front of you, you know, the seagull. You might get a little dog invading. You might get, you know, things like that, but it is just you and your body on the beach. And now it's kind of grown into this whole community of people doing the same thing. And to be honest, the yoga's kind of pushed to one side a little bit now. It's just more the fact that it's bodies on the beach of this community together at 7 a.m. for the sunrise. But being out in nature is is so mindful, and it's such an easy thing to connect to because you can feel the sunlight, you can feel the breeze, you can connect to the stones beneath you if you're lucky, and a bit of sand beneath you, and it's an easy way to be present and to fully be there in that moment.
Nice. Interesting. I should try it one day.
You should.
One day.
One day.
Okay, yeah, because I'm watching it the whole time. I'm like, okay. Okay, cool. So that's what you do in Portsmouth, but I understand that you do retreats.
Yeah.
Now, I'm quite intrigued about retreats. So, what is a yoga retreat, first of all?
It's kind of a holiday.
Okay.
It's a little yoga holiday, so there's hundreds of different types of retreats out there, and you know, you can go to one and it might be, I don't know, all about building confidence. You might go to one, it might be all about working on a headstand or, you know, a certain pose. The ones that I tend to lead are more of like a yoga and travel immersion. So you'll go to a place, like we go to Morocco, Sri Lanka, Portugal. We'll do our yoga in the morning, yoga in the evening. We'll do a workshop in the day, but we might go on a city tour, or you might go to the hammam and have a spa, and you know, all these different things. And yeah, it's just a way to solo travel or travel with a loved one and connect yourself a little bit deeper, because you don't have that, I've got a yoga class, then I need to go to work, or then I need to do this, or you know, you can really connect to your body and really connect to all those questions, all those emotions, all those things that might come up in yoga that you want to explore a bit more, but then life hits and reality hits and we kind of lose all those things. Or just to connect to each other if you want to go away. And you know, the ones that I do in Ibiza are more about the connection to each other and going there and enjoying the island and enjoying that balance between living life and having a yoga practice.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, because I always see people go on yoga retreats, and I'm just like, what do they really do, you know?
Yeah, I mean, the standard day is like you wake up, do yoga, do meditation, journaling, have a delicious breakfast or brunch made by a private chef or something, which is always the best. I get really sad when I come home and have to then cook my own food. And then you'll then do, some kind of activity in the day, and then again, more workshops, dinner. It's just full immersion in your practice.
Okay. Interesting. Alright, so cool. That's a retreat. Now, for someone who's looking to dip their toe in, but just a bit standoffish, what's your message to them?
I think you've just got to do it. Everyone hasn't been flexible once. No one comes out of the womb. Well, actually, people do come out of the womb being really flexible. That's what babies do. But then we get old and life happens, and you know, then you can't touch your toes and you can't do all those things. And so I think people get really nervous about stepping into a class and thinking they're going to be the only one who can't do stuff, and that's not the case at all. Everyone wobbles, everyone falls over, everyone has good days and bad days, and days where they go, that really hurts today, and things like that. And it's just having that confidence to go, I might not be very good at this, but I'm going to do it anyway, and I'm going to do it for my mental health. And like I said earlier, the more you do it, the more you realise the pose really isn't why you're coming. It's a nice little secondary bonus, but that's not why we do it in the end. It's purely for our mental health and for our head, and for being unavailable and creating that space for you just to pause and think.
Nice.
And we all need a bit of that.
Agreed.
We all need it.
It's true. It is true. Well, okay. Cool. I guess we'll put a pin in it there then. Yeah, that was really good. I really enjoyed that.
Nice.
Yeah, it was nice.
Good.
So, cool. We'll put a pin in it there, and then we'll crack on with part 2. But thank you for sharing so
You're
far.
so
It's been
welcome.
great.
Good.
All right. Cool. Part 2. We made it.
We did.
So, in part 2, we go out into the street and we ask a question. And I'm not going to tell you a question.
Okay.
Surprise.
Okay.
And yeah, feel free to stop at any time. Feel free to react.
Okay.
Feel free to wait till the end.
Okay.
So, away we go.
Okay, cool.
Do you do yoga?
I used to do yoga, funnily enough. Taught myself when I was in uni, but I think I got hypermobility, so I don't really do it anymore because it always like clicks my joints out of place.
Interesting. Why did you do yoga?
So health benefits basically. It's really good for like your circulatory system and obviously just to be flexible. But I'm already quite flexible, so I kind of thought that's pushing it a bit too far.
Do you do yoga?
I don't do yoga. I've never done yoga.
Why?
It's not something that's ever really interested me.
Fair. What other sport, or what do you do for relaxing then?
To relax, watch telly, just chill out with my mates, go to the gym.
Do you do yoga?
No,
Have you ever done yoga?
no,
Why?
because it's yoga. I'm not very flexible.
Fair enough. Would you ever try it?
Possibly. I don't really have time in my schedule to go try and do yoga.
Do you do yoga?
Not really. No.
Really? Why?
No, I haven't done it before.
Okay, interesting. Would you try it?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Why haven't you tried it?
Wow. Well, it's feel like very, very difficult to that position. I have to stretch my legs, my legs, my arms. It's kind of difficult.
Do you do yoga?
Well, I've done it before. Kind of enjoyed it.
Kind of.
Yeah,
Would you ever do it again?
probably, yeah. It's calming, relaxing.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, so why did you do it then? What did you get out of it?
Well, I did it because I was on holiday to Morocco and it was an option. So I was like, you know what, I may as well try something new.
Have you ever done yoga?
No, I got asked to do it once and I said no because I'm like the least flexible person in the world.
I'm going to so make you do it now.
No,
it's
why?
so much fun.
No, you know what I'm like. I hurt my back just reaching over to do anything. I'm like an old man pretty much. But no, I have. Have you?
I have, yeah.
How did you find it?
Through my mum actually.
Okay. Would
Yeah.
you ever do it again?
Yeah, I do it from time to time with her.
Okay, so that was the question. So, do people do yoga now? Any thoughts?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is people just get worried about like how flexible they are, don't they? And like the one that stood out for me was the guy who said, "Oh, I like do other things to relax. I watch TV."
Yeah.
And like it's one of the funniest things because like that's not relaxing. Like so, I always give the example of like imagine your worst day of the week. So you wake up, you're late. You want to put a certain top on or shirt on, and then you're like, oh, I can't find it. And then so on and so on and so on, and then you get caught up in traffic, and more of this stuff happens, and it just escalates and escalates and escalates. Then you get to work and you see that email that you really don't want to see, and it's like, oh, and you feel rubbish, you feel a bit of pants, and then you continue on like that. It's Louise. She's the other person who runs the space. She's mad as a box of frogs.
Bless her.
I don't know what she's gonna do.
She can come in.
Yeah, I don't think she's gonna come in. I think maybe she should drop her something up.
That's alright.
We'll see.
Bless her.
She's watering the plants.
Oh, bless. That's awesome.
See, this is yoga teachers.
No,
She's
just to the plants.
she's on a walk to water some plants.
Ah. Vibes.
Honestly, is she gonna? I don't know what she's gonna do.
I think she is. No.
No.
Maybe? She's teeing it up. I don't mind. It's all good. It's all good.
I was mid-flow.
Yeah, I know.
I can see. I was like, oh no, it's Louise.
Oh no. Ah, she's just watering plants, bless her.
She's just watering the plants.
Okay.
Okay, cool. So the worst day of the week, and then you get to work, you see an email. The email makes you feel like, ugh. So every time something like that happens, cortisol, which is a stress hormone, is then released into your body. It's release. So by the time you then finish work, or the time you get to lunch, that's all still streaming around your body because I think it takes about up to 10 hours for that hormone to come out of your system.
Really?
So coming home and watching Netflix while also scrolling and also like eating your dinner, that's not relaxing. You're not releasing that hormone through that. Yeah, it's not going to do anything. So you need to do something like go for a run, or I think a lot of studies say that people who run or cycle or walk home from work are are releasing that stress and they're in a better mood than the people who drive home from work when they're home quicker, but they're still carrying all that emotion and all that stress from the day. And so doing things like going to the gym, going to yoga, even if you think, oh, I just want to relax, I just want to chill out, I don't necessarily want to work, then you need to do like a slower, more chill practice, like yin yoga, like restorative yoga, like breathwork, meditation, to release that stress hormone. Because if you think of then, that's just over one day, think of your whole week, your Monday to Friday, all those little things that happen, and then if you have a really sluggish week, or if you don't do anything to relax, even if you go to the gym and you do like a real intense workout, you're still putting stress onto your body as such. Your body doesn't recognise it as releasing a stress, it's an additional stress you're putting on. So then by the time you get to the end of the week, it's still just coursing through you and there's been no positive release for it. So yeah, it's interesting. His way of relaxing was not actually relaxing. It's a relaxing thing, but it's not going to reduce anything that's happened in the day after work.
Interesting. Wow. Okay. Yeah, any other thoughts?
It seems to be something that people dip in and out of. I think it's hard for people to have a consistent yoga practice or consistently make time for it. Whether that is because people prioritise other forms of exercise, whether like a physical form of exercise over a mental form of exercise, whether it's people just don't prioritise their mental health and think of it as a view to improve their physical health, and then they do other things for their physical health so they don't have to worry about their mental health. People don't seem to kind of prioritise that.
Wow, fair. Why do you think it is though?
That people don't do it?
Yeah.
Because it's weird. A lot of yoga studios don't make yoga look accessible. The amount of social media that I see from other studios and other teachers, and I look at it and I'm like, it just looks weird. This doesn't look warm and inviting or filled with normal people and normal bodies. It's, what we see on Instagram is the highlight reel of people doing splits and headstands and all these crazy cool poses. And you never see someone who you think, oh, that looks fun, or I want to do that because it looks fun. You see it because it looks very serious, or it looks very relaxing, and it's like, well, no, actually you can go and do yoga on a beach or in a warehouse or up Spinnaker Tower, or just in a normal room with people who don't all look like Lululemon models, and it's fine. I think people don't prioritise it because it does look a bit weird and a bit spooky and a bit too spiritual and maybe inaccessible.
Inaccessible.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's why you did it different. Back to the beginning. Get it? Well, okay, cool. So I think, any closing thoughts then?
I think the world of yoga is slowly changing. I think it does look more accessible. I think there is more things going on that is different, that makes it more fun, more playful, that shows you don't have to follow a strict wellness lifestyle to be able to do yoga, and there are so many other benefits to it. I just think people just need to do it and try it and be consistent with it. Just try it for a month and see, and see the benefit of it on your brain and your body.
Wow, there it is.
No, it is.
Try for a month, see how you get on.
Yeah.
Alright, well, Emily, that brings us to a lovely close. Yeah, it's been good.
Yeah, I've been here all day.
I know, we got right into it. I know we just scratched the surface there, innit? Well, alright, cool. So, that brings us to a lovely close, and I look forward to seeing what you get up to next.
Oh, I love it. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Alright, great.